Hi, everybody. Welcome to It's a Long Story, a D&D campaign set in a homebrew world of North Imea. It is Friday, so this is our Friday crew, the Unearthed Arcanum. Everybody wave and say hi. Hello.
Hi.
Obviously, this is not our entire crew. We have a couple who are missing, and we miss them dearly, but we assume they're doing something fun or at least important. But we are going to jump in with tonight's episode. And Mitch, could you kindly give us the where we left off speech?
So we left off with Alistair having an adventure in his mind palace and finding some truly deep and horrifying things which frightened the daylights out of him, resulting in him wanting to get out of camp in a hurry and asking Io and Nolani to get him out before he did something that he might regret. So the three guys basically bailed and took off down the path and came to a fork in the road, and Nolani felt a strong desire to go back and discover what had happened to his uncle and Pedro when he had left. So he took off with the rest of the group and came upon the place where earlier in the adventure he had come across the blue bird for the first time and noticed some interesting things with some trees that had grown much more rapidly than could possibly happen. And while investigating that, heard a noise and came upon a cliff overlooking a being in a cage and some creatures guarding it. Got the rest of the group. Alistair uncharacteristically went after them first. Yet to be discovered what exactly the axe he had to grind with one of them was, but that resulted in a conflict where we met a new character, Jörri, who was within the cage and came out in a big way, I guess you could say, and the group ended up killing everything in the area and introducing themselves to their new friend, or well, yet to be determined if he's a friend or not, and resulting in a letter being found with Delani's name at the top of it. And then Kiki, who plays Siobhan, joined us very late in the evening for a cameo, if you will, and kind of set the stage for tonight, for kind of a two-sided episode, if you will. The guys on one hand and the girls back at camp. What am I forgetting, Clinton?
Nope, you good?
I think that was everything. I think, did you mention a cave? Did I miss something with a cave? Or is that
No.
the voice in my head again? Okay, great, good. Yes, I always say I don't remember a cave. But yeah, which is perfectly possible that there would be a cave that I just forget, because that happens. But awesome. Well, without further ado, we are going to jump in. We're going to start as we have a split party between the boys and and Kiki and and Siobhan and Gwyn, as well as Collis and Temurr being there as well. So there's that factor there. So we're gonna start maybe, I don't know, Glenn just said, "My 6-year-old is puking. I'll be right back." So, sorry, probably shouldn't have said that in the stream. Sorry, guys. Anyways, let's do this then. So building from that, we'll start with Siobhan. So this is kind of coming to the morning of, and we'll kind of fast forward a little bit. We're gonna go to the point of just like you're just packing up, kind of like getting ready to go. Gwyn has explained to you in some manner that most likely in a like kind of like brief sort of description of like they just decided that they wanted to go. I believe I don't remember correctly, but I believe either Gwyn was not absolutely told what the reasoning was, but had a kind of an inkling, or was told and probably decided not to say anything.
I think what they said was Gwyn will see that Alistair is scared, and I was telling her we need to go now, looking at like Siobhan and then Alistair being scared. So she
Okay.
might have caught the insinuation like there's something going on here.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Awesome. So you guys are kind of like packing up good. Packing up the cart, Gwyn, giving you kind of a there was something, and it seemed like I think Gwyn would tell you like Alistair seemed to be really upset, and but she also would probably be that sort of calming personality of going like, I'm sure they're fine.
Well, we should get packed up and I guess follow them, because I don't know how long those three will be fine alone.
Yeah, so the horse is good to go. Just making sure nobody left anything, right? Besides, sorry. Okay, all right. Good. Let's go. And just kind of like, and the wagon just kind of starts to kind of move along. Siobhan, you see Temurr kind of like off to the side, again, like doing his normal routine of like kind of like walking with like either walking in front or with the cart, depending on the situation. In this case, he's walking with the cart. Go ahead and roll me whatever check you would like to on Temurr.
Let's do insight, that's my best. Okay. So 22?
22. Okay, cool, nice. I will say, like passive perception on with Siobhan, there is a point where, like I had said previously, there was a lot of like how when you look at Temurr, it's almost like there's a shadow that's always following him. He always seems to be kind of like darker, even in the like brightest sort of spot. He just happens to maybe like just find the shadow in that area and kind of lean towards it. In this case, you're seeing a much more descriptive like you're seeing like everything about Temurr in this. Everything about him looks a little lighter, like lighter on the like lighter on the green skin. Which again is like kind of a mixture of like a grayish green. It's not like a heavy. You see, you can actually see like his. I think with the like shadow that like you can see the not the pupils, not the iris. We'll just say the whites of his eyes a little more. And with your 22 insight check, he seems 22 is pretty good. He seems to be nervous a little bit and uncomfortable would probably be the best way to put it. He does look like he's not like physically in pain anymore. But I will say he seems out of place. And kind of jumpy.
Siobhan will jump out of the cart and walk up next to him. And wait for him to look over so that he can see her lips moving.
As soon as you jumped out of the cart, he like kind of like did a jolt and like kind of looked over at you.
And she'll just say to him, hoping she thinks he can read lips.
Mhm.
I've got your back. We'll keep an eye out together.
I think actually, I think there's a certain point where he starts signing to you, and forgets that you don't like know. Or did we determine that you like are
He
understanding
knows
basic?
thieves can't sign. No, it's Alistair because he has that thing where he can understand a language after 24 hours of being around
That's right.
people.
That's right. I'll say this is more of a personality sort of thing where you actually
Mhm.
see him starting to kind of sign to you and then recognizing the ridiculousness of what he's doing, and just kind of like gives like a thumbs up, in a very awkward, just as awkward as anyone could be giving a thumbs up, but especially awkward given the normally like dark brooding of this character. The dark brooding of Temurr is weirdly falling away in this instance.
He's gonna hold on,
go ahead.
motion like this, and then run over to the cart. Gwen, can I borrow a pencil and some paper?
Yeah. Here you go.
She's gonna take it back over and hold it out to Temurr. In case you want to tell me anything or need to talk.
You see thanks on that. Yeah, roll me a. I'm gonna say instead of a persuasion check, actually, just roll me a d20 and add your charisma modifier.
What's my charisma modifier? My charisma modifier is +0 though. Oh, it's a 12.
12. Okay.
Persuasion would have been
12's not bad.
+3.
I mean, that will always be more, right? I'm aware of the differences in that. So, yeah, cool. So the 12, you see him kind of like looking at you for a moment and just going, and writes it in smaller letters. And actually just kind of like puts it to the side and looks the other way, almost in a way of like trying to be like nonchalant and like sneaky about it, but in a way that like he's probably not used to because he's just clearly being seen. I think you see Collis kind of like looking over, like kind of confused, and you read in smaller letters, "All will be explained."
Okay.
And you guys right on. I think, oh, I don't have my dice on me, but I would say we'll kind of give Siobhan this as we could even say that Temurr is distracted, but Temurr's probably giving you advantage. Siobhan, give me a survival check with advantage.
The 16.
16, nice. Okay. With a 16, you do see a set of footprints ahead of you. The imprint is not like clear the whole time. It probably would be if this was a perfectly made dirt road, but because of the sticks and branches and flora and fauna that are kind of in the way, you only get to see occasionally a set of footprints. But with a 16, you do see a solid, like, most likely probably almost perfectly cylindrical imprint next to one of those foot imprints, signifying a cane, most likely being pushed into the ground. And you know that you're following the same path that they seem to be for at least for a time. We'll say about maybe 3. Oh. Laying on the dice for everything. Okay, we'll say about 4 hours pass. And we'll say that for the time for this, the camera kind of just starts to kind of zoom out from you all as you're continuing to kind of make your travels. And the camera kind of fast forwards its movement over to the other party with another cart with another horse on it. And a small blue tiefling, most likely kind of trying to direct the horse as best as he can, while the rest of you either in the cart or walking alongside it.
Nalani, why did you let Io drive this thing? I'm getting sick.
Hey, I have a question for you. That drow back there, you really seem to aggressively go after him. Is there something in your history that you don't like drows, or did you know him personally?
Have you not? Drow are the worst. They're horrible. They're liars. They're thieves. They're killers. All of them.
Yeah, but
How many drow have you known?
I mean, that's a silly question.
Is it?
actually, I think that's a pretty good question, Alistair. How many drow have you known?
I will say for Nalani, definitely not for Jörri, but for Nalani, roll me a history check.
It is a 18.
18. You are probably aware of the 18 is pretty good. 18, you're aware of the that you've never seen a drow. Assuming that you spent most of your time either with your uncle in North Imea or with Io in South Imea, not a single drow. I think you're, for the most part, I think when any like phrase that's known as drow comes up, you constantly see people like spit on the ground at the thought of the name. I will say this, with an 18, I'll give you kind of a choice. Is there a possibility that, let's say, if there was a historical book, right, like a history book that happened to be found in South Imea, would Nalani read it?
I don't think he would read just a random history book unless he was specifically looking for something.
Cool. Yeah, fair enough. Then yeah, you just know, you do at least know that people in South Imea for sure hate drow with a passion.
So I guess what I'm gonna take a close look at Alistair, because what Nalani's trying to ascertain is Nalani observed Alistair going by other enemies, seeming to focus directly on the drow when other combatants were close to him. So Nalani's trying to understand is Alistair hiding something? Is there something specifically about the drow or about this character that he was focused on, or just history of drow?
I hate to say. Oh, sorry. I would say I hate to say it this way, but it's pure racism.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not specifically directed at that drow or anything. It's just inherent cultural racism.
Okay.
And I would also just to add to that again, you would like understand some of that to be South Imean.
Okay. Yep, that's what I was trying to figure out.
Where my dad's from.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
I mean, I haven't known any drow, nor do I really have any desire to get to know any Jörri. Do you know drow?
Uh, that was the first drow I've ever met, and he was a shithead. So maybe they're all like that. But without knowing more, how could you know?
Have you? I mean, do you just pick up a book? There's they've never done anything worthwhile that I'm aware of. Sure, I'm sure there's one or two that are great and grand. I mean, sure, they can't all be bad, right? But I mean, they're all bad. I mean,
Or they could all not be bad.
well, at least some of them are, because I mean,
Could be just the ones in those books,
and the
or
one that had you.
maybe. Oh yeah, and him. Or maybe the people who wrote the books. All of them hated drow.
Whoa! Why are we talking about the drought? Why is my name at the top of the list? On the
You brought it up. Wait a minute. Hold on. The DM's gonna say you brought it up.
No. Enough with the drought. I got the drought. We killed the drought.
Actually, you killed the drow. So why do you hate them?
I want
You
to
did
know.
shoot a lot of arrows into him.
Yeah, even when he was dead, you were still shooting them.
I only shot 3.
I feel like that was 2 more than you needed.
We're done talking about the drow. We're trying to understand at this point why my name was at the top of the list.
Jörri, do you know what that list was about?
I do not.
So I will say this because we kind of put it as like an ending sort of like mark to the session. So looking like getting more time to kind of look at the list as you're kind of riding in this cart. I would say no one on that list looks familiar, except for Jörri. You're not even listed by name on there. You're marked as just a fairy with red hair. I think something like that. And just a sentence at the end that says "Find these and get rewarded for your trouble," and then a dash, and then just a simple letter, just an S.
Are there any other descriptions on there, like a fairy with red hair, or are they just, or is it names and then just a fairy with red hair?
I will say you do see names. I'll say I'll have the list for you eventually on that. That's the DM going, oh shit, I need to get that. But I
guess
you
I'm asking,
definitely
like,
don't. Go ahead.
Because like, is this like, hey, we're looking for specific people, but we don't know this person's name, or is it like a scavenger hunt list with a few names in there?
Yeah, I think it's probably a little more the second one. I think there's some names that are on there, and there's some descriptions on there. But Jörri's name is specifically not on there, but you do see that there is a fairy with red hair on there. And then probably like a little parentheses that says he will bite next to it.
Nice. A calico tabaxi.
So
I didn't say anything yet.
But Jörri, I assume this fairy with red hair refers to you on the list. Do you know why you're on this list, or what this list is about, or who those people were, or what they were doing?
The only thing I know is they were taking me back to Azumare, to the fighting pits. That's all they said to me. I would assume that they're slavers, but I don't know why they'd specifically be seeking me or have my name on a list if it didn't seem like they were necessarily seeking me specifically. I felt like I just got caught, but I guess my name was on a list, or my description was on a list.
Do you often bite people?
I've been known to bite a person or two.
Yeah, then
Have
It depends what they're doing to me.
yeah, then this is
Have you ever
definitely you.
eaten any people?
Uh, i- i- no, you know, in some cultures, the word people is used more loosely to lots of different things. But if you mean a humanoid, not that I know of.
Okay. Okay. So, did you hear them talking about were they going to take you back from here or were they going to look for other people on this list?
As far as I could tell, they were taking me back.
Wait, how long were you there? Sorry, where are you from?
I came from Azumare,
Yeah.
and then they were taking me back to Azumare.
Nope, nope, nope. Look, follow the. Look at me. Where are you from? Where did you when you? How old are you again? Where did you spend the last 13 years of your life?
Different places. I.
Nalani. You understand what I'm asking him, right?
But I've been in different places. I've been in Eriskar and in the mountains near Eriskar. And maybe somewhere else. I don't know where I was. I don't actually know how fairies are created, whether they're. I don't think they're born. But I was somewhere else besides that before that.
Fey creatures. I can't.
Where are you guys from?
I can't deal with fey creatures today.
Io, we're headed towards my uncle's house, aren't we, Io?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes, it'll be. Well, I don't know. How far is your house?
No, we're headed towards the ocean. We're going.
You're right, Alistair. We're headed straight towards the ocean. So it was about an hour away from the cliff, I believe, is what you had said last session. So
So say you're about 10 minutes away.
So, I think I would like to cast Pass Without a Trace as we approach.
Warnings, Nalani. You can't just do that. You need to let me know what's going on. I don't. Don't.
Okay. So, Alistair,
Yeah.
we're coming close to my uncle's cabin, and if you recall, last time I was here, I barely escaped with my life, and I think he might be dead, and so I'm a little bit worried about what we might find there, or if somebody's left someone to wait for me. I mean, obviously, I'm on a list, and people are looking for me, and these guys are awfully close to my house, and so I'm just a little concerned.
Okay. Yeah. So
So do you-
we're going to your house.
Well, it's on this path on the way to where we're going. We kind of have to pass right by it.
Do we need to be ready for more fighting?
I hope not. I think it might be a good idea if I cast Pass Without a Trace so that if there's someone there, we might be able to avoid a fight. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. I was just saying, please give me a heads up. I'm not really comfortable with you guys just casting things without me knowing.
You're right. I remember you saying that, and I apologize.
Don't
I
don't do,
will-
don't do that. Let's just cast your spell. Don't do
maybe we could hug.
that. Fuck me today.
Io's in the front, just trying to hide his mouth in his sleeve.
Yeah, that's
Okay, no hug. I'll just cast this spell.
thanks.
Okay.
Cool. You cast Pass Without Trace. This would be a good time as any to have everybody roll a stealth check. I'll roll for Io.
This is a dirty 20. 22, sorry. 22.
22 with the plus 10.
Yeah, with the plus 10.
Okay.
24.
Okay.
With the plus 10.
23 with the plus 10.
Okay. Man, that Pass Without Trace. Did you guys good? Io got a 16. Oh wait,
With
I'm sorry,
10?
I didn't check out his thing. What's that?
With the plus 10?
With the plus 10, but hold on, I didn't check his.
I think he's plus 2.
So 18. Cool. Okay. You, Nalani, you pass by, and you could tell me what landmark, like natural landmark that you happen to see that like kind of tells you like, okay, cool, the house should be just beyond this corner.
I don't know if you said this, so stop me if I'm getting out of line, but I kind of envisioned a small lake, and the road kind of comes around it, and the cabin's kind of set back on the other side. So as you approach the lake, you know you're getting close, and you're gonna kind of go along the side of it for a bit.
Cool. If you don't mind just meeting in the middle, we'll call it like a pond.
Yep.
Just to but yeah, absolutely, that's cool. Cool. So you pass by the pond, and you Alani, you see what may or may not be a specifically horrific sight to you. You see what essentially is about half a cabin, as it is completely like soot black. You see it kind of off in the distance, and you immediately know they burned the place down.
I think Nalani's gonna. I imagine we're on obviously we're on a path or a road big enough for the wagon. So I think Nalani will probably take off, darting like through the woods. Like he would be very familiar with the paths in this area, I would think. And so he's going to take off, kind of not down the main road, but a side path, beelining it to the back of the cabin, like kind of going towards the cabin as fast as he can.
Okay. Yeah, you all see this. Nalani just fully just jumps out and just takes off running. Like disregarding the concept of like the pass without trace and everything, just full on sprint. Nalani, you obviously get to the house way before everyone else. Go ahead and roll me a perception check, please.
Yeah, knowing Io, I'm sure he tries to like get the horses to move, or the horse to move faster. And I think Alistair probably is like just.
I mean,
yeah. This is his moment. Like I would hold everybody back.
Yeah, if you say something, Jörri would say it back. Otherwise, if someone's charging into something, Yori's gonna immediately try and follow. So if you can take social cues. So I'll assume you know.
Alistair cannot, but he knows this one. So
Cool.
It's a 19.
Okay. With a 19, you see the fire itself looks like it most likely was designed to look like an accident. You see it. You see that the main area of where the like fireplace was kind of where most of the rubble or where the least amount of rubble is. Honestly, it's kind of has caught sideways and moved along. With a 19, you can see it is. I mean, it was definitely not an accident. Um, I think there's a point where Nalani, you look at the table that is that has essentially like is like completely kind of like tipped to its side, as half of it is gone. I think, to role play this moment, I think Nalani, you probably try to like pick it up and steady it, as you remember that being the last place that you had seen Javier. You look in the bedroom. For some manner semblance of something to be able to kind of be gained from this in an information standpoint. I'll say with a 19, you see a note. With a 19, you see a note that is neatly folded up in a way that, and I think you, do you think that you have the list?
Yeah, I think I had it last because I was talking to about it. Yeah,
I mean, it has
probably
your name on it. I think it would make sense, I think in this moment you pull out the list, right, the folded of it, but you notice that it's folded exactly the same way. You see, it's kind of just sitting on this desk that has no chair to it anymore, and you notice that the like the wall even to this into his separate sort of bedroom has kind of like in most of it is kind of burned away as well. So you can see that like all of the whatever like makeshift sort of like sheets or what have you from the bed is completely burned away. There's barely a bed frame. Yeah, with a 19, I think really the only thing we'll say, and feel free to kind of jump into a role play sort of standpoint here, but I'll say the only mechanical use of a thing that you get is this crumpled up, or excuse me, this folded up note.
Nalani reaches down and picks up the note. Recognizes that it's folded the same way and just kind of puts it in his pocket, but his eyes are darting around the room. He's looking for remains, honestly. He's looking for like any sign of Javier or Pedro or anything like he's not acting himself. He's very sweating, very twitchy, very like I think the rest of the group probably comes up on him and sees him in shock, just kind of standing in there, kind of looking for answers, but clearly there aren't any.
Yeah, I think as Alistair, as we get closer, two things. Number one, do I see anything in or around the building that's shining magical at all? And then the second thing is I would cast detect evil and good, which I know Jörri will now pop up when I look at him.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and roll me a perception check with advantage from your ability.
All right.
This is outside the detect evil and good.
So that's just going to be a 10 with advantage.
Okay. Yeah, you don't see anything. Okay. Yeah, you see. You see actually. So a small point of order here thing is just to make sure the RP of this isn't isn't off course here. Do we remember what you saw when you looked at Siobhan?
Yeah, it was just a hazy. I don't remember the color, but clearly a fae. But hers was hazy.
Siobhan, do you remember?
Let me look at my notes real quick. 35 pages ago. Hold on.
So we'll kind of we'll handle
Go
that
back
in a
to that.
second. Yeah. Yeah. You hear again. I won't try to go into Dan's voice too much, but you hear Io come to you and just go, "Nay, I'm so sorry."
Nolani's gonna push past him and kind of walk out. As he passes Alistar, he's gonna hand him both the note and the list, and he's just gonna hand it to him as he kind of walks off into the woods a little bit, and he's gonna just kind of hit his knees at the first tree. I'm imagining there's like a clearing around the cabin, and when he gets to the first tree, he's gonna just kind of hit his knees and steady himself up against the tree with one hand and just start sobbing.
Jörri, Io, you guys want to go check on Nolani?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what, Jörri, you could probably. I could use you in here, actually.
How does Nolani feel about, you think, Fenrir? Didn't someone have something to say about goats?
I would not send a goat to.
He's not a goat, but I understand.
Yeah, can that thing?
He helps me cheer up. Go on.
Can that thing smell?
You want to send Fenrir to Nolani?
I was gonna send Fenrir, but like I wanted to, confirm it because I'm pretty sure Nolani was the one that didn't like goats, so it's probably not a good option. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Fenrir's not a goat, but it's just dependent upon
It's
whether
close
or not...
enough to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can that thing smell? Like, is it? Can it? Is it like a dog? Can it do those things?
It's not typically used for tracking. It does smell things.
Jörri, I know it can smell things. I can see its nose, but can you? I don't know, man. Can you just look around and like, do you know? You look like you like fire. Can you figure out how this started?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just gonna.
I'll look around.
I'm gonna look
And
at
then,
these.
yeah, I guess I'll just start.
Okay.
I guess I'll try and look around and see. I'm not exactly sure what I'm, looking around at that point, but I think just to try to be helpful or do something, Jörri will just kind of start looking for anything that seems like, it might be something that doesn't belong here.
Cool. Yeah, Jörri, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
It's 15.
Cool. Yeah, with a 15, With a 15, I think you see that the fire must have started in the fireplace, but from your... actually, I'm going to say, in this case, go ahead and roll with advantage.
Okay. Yeah, first one was higher. I think it's 15. It's the highest. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I will say, even with that 15, with a 15, you know fire, and you know that this was designed very much to look like an accident when it was not. You see in the fireplace, like sort of like that's kind of left over from it. You notice how the movement of the flames would generally go this way, but I think you also kind of like see like it would burn way more around, like it would burn in all directions as well. And it seems like they were good, but not that good.
Right. Is Alistair somewhere close by? Is he off to kind of doing his own thing at this point?
I
The
stood
cottage
right
isn't very big at all. It's
No.
only like a
Okay,
2.
yeah.
I didn't move. I think I opened up. Yeah, so I was gonna look at the letter. I'm assuming that I might have caught it as well, that the folds were the same, and if so, then I would be checking the handwriting as I'm reading it. Like, does it look similar? Like the same person wrote it.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
I would be checking for similarities between the two letters. If I noticed that they were folded similarly as well, which I assume I did, just because I assume Alistair noticed it, I would immediately start checking the handwriting, because that would clearly mean that the same person wrote both.
Yeah, you open up the letter and I think you start to like go into a mode of like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. Like this is gonna be it's gonna be clear. And then you'll notice directly at the bottom that there's 2 signatures that look exactly the same.
Yeah.
So you're like immediately like, oh, well, and maybe a bit disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, we're walking to a crime scene. I mean, this is clearly a fire. I know it was set, more than likely magically. So
That's what I was going to ask. Is there any way to see whether, obviously it's not natural, but if there's way to see that it was manipulated in like a magical sense rather than just like a mundane kind of fire lighting?
Interesting. That's a good question. I would say with a 15, it definitely seems odd for it in any sort of natural state to work this way. I think you get that. I say with a 15, you're not entirely sure whether or not it was done by magic, but
Right.
it certainly was done with a purpose.
Right, yeah.
So assuming that you read the letter, Alistair, you see Nalani. So sorry I missed you. Headed off to Azumare. Come along if you want to have a good time. And then -S.
I think I look out to where Nalani's at, and then back to Jörri. Do you know anyone in Azamari with the name or initial S?
For the record, that was the history check.
Yeah. No, nobody who. I mean, I'm sure there are many people with the names of S, but I don't know anybody specifically. I mentioned I was pretty isolated.
Okay, well, whoever this person is the same person that wrote out this list that Nalani's name's on. He's inviting him to Azamari. What? I mean, what did you? I know you were in a fighting pit there, but what were you? Did you do anything else there? How did you get there? Were you first kidnapped and taken there? Like, what? I don't understand.
I got there in much the same way I was getting there when you found me. I was in Ada's car, and I was taken from there, and then eventually ended up in the fighting pits. I wasn't there very long before I left, so I know perhaps a little about the city, but not a whole lot. And the pits isn't really much of the city. But if we're going back there, I'm happy to come.
Well, I mean, we're definitely gonna end up there, but I don't think we should go just yet. Would you? Should we? Oh man, I wish Gwen was here right now. Should we tell Alani about? I mean, it's his letter, but I don't know that he's gonna figure out the same. Should we? Is that gonna be like? Here, can you take these 2 letters? Return them back to Nalani. Let him know what we talked about. I'm just gonna look around in here a little bit more. Could you do that?
Okay. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. You go do that.
As a DM, I was very interested in what you were going to do with those because they were given to you. I love the concept of like the zoom out of like Alistair talking to a 14-year-old fairy, 14 and a half, excuse me, old fairy of like, well, should we tell him? Like, would you? It's so good.
That's also why I set him with it.
Not known for a lot of subterfuge. Yeah. All right.
I actually I will say this. No, I think it's a character choice. I think Jörri, as you're heading back, there is a level of like, because I think even Jörri would recognize that the result of giving these letters could mean that we go back to the place that you escaped. So I think the thought at least crosses your mind of like, I don't want to go back there.
I think at the same time, though, he's going back with new people, and at all times, there's a balance of that seems the closest thing to a fight, to letting loose on some people, and he probably has some people in the city he'd like to let loose on anyway. So, yeah, I think there's definitely a balance there. But yeah, I would say that. So Jörri walks over to where. I mean, if Nalani is still on the, on her knees, if it's still an emotional moment, Jörri probably still waits a little bit before going up, and then eventually, when it's not going to be like they're all over it, but
let's role play that moment because I think there's a point where we want to allow Nalani to be able to kind of like give that. So I'll pretend to be Io. Nene, you okay?
Yeah, I gotta find out what happened to him. I need to know. I abandoned them. I left them here, and they probably died.
You said probably. You didn't. You don't know if your uncle's alive.
There's just nothing here. I thought when we got back here I'd have an answer.
No, I'm just saying. I just wanted to make sure because you were, when we talked about it, you were kind of emotional, and I was just letting you, handle yourself. But I'm assuming you didn't hear or see your uncle fall.
No, I didn't see them actually die, but I ran. He told me to run, and I took off. I mean, if I had been here, something different might have happened.
Hey, you told me that there was a bunch of gnolls that were all around this place, and we know from our travels in South Imea how bad gnolls are. I think you made the right choice. I know that's hard to see right now.
I'm never making that choice again.
Well, and I'll never leave your side again. As the DM promises something that Dan doesn't.
I think Nalani at this point kind of feels this chest, you know, that he's been carrying around for so long. And he's filled with a little bit of anger. Kind of stands up and kind of looks around the yard and sees what I imagine to be a big half-round log where they used to chop wood. You know, probably an axe sitting next to it, and kind of says, "I can tell you one thing. I'm gonna get into this box one way or another, Io," and walks over and puts the chest on the chopping block and picks up the axe and just takes a swing at it.
Okay, cool. Roll me an attack roll, and we'll say you just use your short sword proficiency, if you have that, or whatever that equivalent would be. Scimitar.
That is a 17 plus 6.
Yep, that'll hit. As you strike at this thing, you feel immediately your axe, like you assume, like you feel it's wood, and you assume like as you come down you're going to be chopping into wood, and you feel a weird sort of what does happen? There's a couple things that can happen here, so hold on. Okay, all right. Make a dexterity saving throw.
It's a 10.
10. With a 10, you get blasted back up against the tree that you were kind of kneeling against, in a very like sort of like almost like sound wave-ish sort of like as you go flying into the tree.
I'm swinging at the box again.
Cool. All right. Okay. Alistair, you see this from afar, and Jörri, you see this, and you're even closer, I think, at this point. Yeah. Do you guys do anything? I assume this just keeps repeating, right?
Yeah, I think after that first loud, whatever. I'm assuming I see the concussion wave. I guess the magic emanating. I would do the fast cane walk. Nalani, stop! Can you just stop?
I think Nalani's in the way I'm imagining this play out is Nalani is angry, hitting this thing, and is going to continue doing this until he's exhausted, you know, and tired or physically restrained. I don't think Alistair is, depending on where you're positioned. If you're in between him and the box, you're probably going to, okay, good.
Yeah, actually, Alistair, roll me a wisdom saving throw.
It's 12.
You can't help nothing. You don't change, but you can't help feeling a deep sense of trying to think of the way to describe it. You feel a weird like closeness with Milani in this moment, in a like kinship sort of way. And I will say with a 12 is probably just enough to know that that is not you that's feeling that. That's the other. Yeah.
I know that it. I mean, you're at full force swinging this axe, so I know this will do nothing to stop that. But I think you'll see Mage Hand come out. So Alistair's weird anatomical vein Mage Hand comes out and just kind of gets in front of Nalani's face. Like you can't not see it. I think it's there just to cause a distraction without putting myself in harm's way.
Cool.
And it will move with you. I mean, it's a spectral hand. You're not going to push it out of the way. You're not going to walk past it.
No mechanical change here, Nalani, so it's up to you what happens.
I think Nalani's just trying to swing through it, just
cool. I'll say this is probably maybe the third hit as you feel yourself. You know where it's coming to, so you kind of brace yourself. So I think like the second and third hit, you get pushed back, but it's like kind of like you're just like scraped against the ground, like you're scraping against the ground trying to hold yourself. On that third hit, you feel the what's underneath the box. What is the box sitting on?
Like a block of wood.
Okay, cool. Like a stump.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You feel you go to like run through, and you actually feel that same sort of blast, but the rest of you see the entire stump just disintegrate underneath.
Are you gonna try and swing again? Just curious.
No, I think at this point Nalani just falls back down to his knees and kind of grabs Alistair's like good leg, is just kind of sobbing again, just kind of holding his leg, saying, "I gotta find him. I gotta find out what's happened."
Oh man.
All right. So let's give this a try. So while this is happening, Jörri's gonna kind of sit back a little bit, and he's gonna take out a flute. And he's just gonna sit kind of a little bit away from everyone and just kind of start playing it a little bit. And he's gonna be casting Healing Word on Nalani, just if you saw him hit the tree and whatnot. But also, I'm gonna see if this works. So let's see.
Yeah, it's kind of cutting it out.
Nah.
Nothing on our end, man.
Yeah, we'll try it during a sound check sometime then.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, we'll make sure you get that. But yeah, we heard the beginning of it, so
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just going to be the levels coming through and whatnot. Yeah, because it's going to come through the same as my voice. So yeah, but yeah, if I'm doing Healing Word, then just as a roll, that's 6 healing.
Okay.
If you need to,
And I kind of feel like Nalani's just exhausted at this point, emotionally and kind of physically at this point, and just kind of.
If you want to take a point of exhaustion as like a role playing thing, I'll fully allow that, or even just roll a saving throw for it.
Sure.
I'm doing that awkward. You're on your knees. You have your arms around my leg. Where like my hand is just like on your head and kind of patting you? Like,
Um, I think you see Io like over on the side, just going like, just be there.
um, uh, um, Nalani, listen, that we'll get into that chest, but killing yourself isn't going to help.
Man,
Um,
you don't understand. You can never understand. You have a great mom and dad, and you've had them all your life, and you know who they are, and you know where they are, and I've never had that. I don't even know who my mom and dad are. I don't even know where they're from. And Pedro, Pedro and Javier, they're all I've ever had, and now I've abandoned them, and they're probably dead, and my house is burned down. I mean, I failed them. The only person that cared about me in the entire world, and I ran away, and this is what happened, and you will never understand.
uh, okay, Nalani. Sure, I don't understand your situation, but I understand.
I think during, just for the record, like during this, like Io is just being like kind of like trying to coach you just by hand signals, because I think Nalani's facing down, right? Of like going like on the like the correctiveness, which is up to you whether or not, yeah, Alistair's responding. Yeah.
I understand loss. Um, I don't. Do you want me to come down there to? I'll come down there. Um, and I'll sit down next to him.
Okay.
Um, listen, Nalani. With the letter that you gave me, it's for whoever wrote that list. They're in Azamari, and they're expecting you to be there. So listen. Um, huh. They're gonna be there no matter what, and we're gonna go. You and me, and Io, and anyone else that wants to come with us. Maybe the little kid can come too. He was there before, but we can't go now. We have to help find Siobhan's child. You guys have to go find Siobhan's child. Um, and I can go to Azamar. That's actually even better. I think I would. We'll deal with that. But between now and then, do you remember Araskar when you really focused and you saw the world differently? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I asked you to trust me then, and you did, and good things happened, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so trust me now when I tell you that that pain and that hurt and that anger that you're feeling right now, all of those emotions that want to just drag you down and put you in a place that you can't be right now. I need you to shove those into a box that looks just like one you're trying to break, and I need you to make that box as strong or stronger than the one that you're trying to get into, and I need you to bury that as deep as you can inside you until you're ready to bring it back. Just if you do that, think that you're gonna you can make it until we get to Azamari.
Yeah, I you're probably right. I just have to find out what happened. I have to find out what happened to him.
And we're gonna do that, but you can't do that when you're on your knees in the middle of a field. You need, your uncle needs you thinking straight, not clouded by whatever's going on right now. That's for later.
I think Milani at this point stands up and offers a hand to Alistair.
As you pull me up, I will put my mouth right next to your ear and go, or you could just leave it there forever and not ever have to worry about it. Here's, Jörri has the letters, if you want to look at them.
Milani walks over and picks up the chest first, and then puts it away.
As you pick up the chest, at first, you're thinking about the impact that you of the axe. That's probably honestly shattered now at this point. And you, I think at first notice oh, it's shifted because of the weight of hitting it. And then you realize that you didn't even come close to hitting it. And it's in a slightly different position.
The box is in a different position?
Mm-hmm. You notice that it's kind of it's obviously the ground beneath is kind of broken, so maybe it dropped weird, but I think you even see over to the side of the box, you actually see that the kind of crushed grass beneath it, you actually see there's a spot to the side of the box of that crushed grass. Alistair, if you walked over, you would notice this too. I will say with your perception check on this, you actually notice up above, almost really directly over Nilani's head, you see a very tiny blue bird with a long tail.
This is I didn't see the bird. Is this the shape
the
that
bird
he
was
made?
Described to you.
Yeah, he stone shaped it into.
Ironically, no, it doesn't look like the bird that was
Got it.
designed for you. Well, let me roll a luck roll on that.
Anyways, I will say Nilani's name out loud. Nilani, I'm assuming you will turn to look at me, and when you do, just as you look at me, you'll notice the eyes were purple. They just went right back to my normal, right when you turned around. You don't know if you caught it or not kind of thing, where my eyes went back to what you normally see, but they weren't when you first turned around. Nilani, slowly look up.
Milani looks up, and does he recognize this bird?
100%. It looks different. It's significantly smaller. I believe when you saw it, how many feet did it have? You could tell me 2. That would be a perfectly normal number. I'm just checking to make
I
sure.
would assume it had 2. Yes,
Okay,
it had
cool.
2.
I would have specifically specified like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, cool. You see, spoilers. But you see, you see a like miniature version of the bird that you saw, especially a long tail, kind of like descended, very high on the treetop. It is not flying away. It's looking directly at you, kind of just like head cocked to the side. Just little beady eyes kind of moving.
Can I... What can I do? Can I try to cast animal handling? Or not
Cast animal handling?
Can I roll for animal handling and just try to like communicate toward
What are you trying to say?
Trying to ask why it's following me.
Okay. Are you so you're not casting a spell here? You're just kind of trying to say to it. Okay. So speak with animals is an actual spell.
Yeah, I don't have that. No.
Cool. Yeah, you could just say it.
Yeah, I think I would just say, what? Hey bird, why are you following me?
You see, kind of like cock its head to the other side. I will say roll an animal handling check for this.
That is a 17.
Nice. With a 17, you know birds don't normally understand common. But you feel fully with a 17 that it not only heard you, there's a part of you that feels like it definitely understood what you were saying.
Can I say the same thing in Elvish?
You say the same thing in Elvish. You see it kind of like jump down a few branches and kind of like look closer at you. You actually see it. Let's see, how would it signify this? Yeah, I think you see it. You see like as it comes closer, you see like the eyes, the like kind of like blackish bird eyes. Look like there's something like sort of soggy underneath them. It's just looking at you. Now stay with that 17 check. You get the feeling that it's trying to. Well, it might not even be. You're not sure. It may be empathizing with the scene it just saw.
If Jörri is nearby and sees and hears you trying to talk to a bird, then I'll probably cast Speak with Animals. Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna cast Speak with Animals, and then just for everyone's benefit. Yeah, and then towards the little bird, I'm just gonna sort of ask it the same question. What are you doing here, little bird? Why are you following him? And it just comes out from me as little sort of trills on the flute as I talk to it.
Okay.
So it's just kind of a little, bird-like song, little flute I'm playing. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, you hear it hears that sound, kind of looks over at you, and Jörri. I'll say because you're is this a level spell? Yeah, this is a level spell.
Level 1.
So I'll say yeah, your resource is spending the spell slot. You see it kind of like turn its head, kind of like looks at you, and you see in a very like quick flash, you see a burst of like a burst of a fire red kind of goes through its from its head down to the tail of its feathers. I will allow you to roll me a something. But as we're trying to figure out what the roll would be, you immediately tell that this is not an animal.
Right. Okay.
Let's say roll me a. It's close though, so I will say roll me an animal handling check to figure out what would be in between.
Okay.
Throw another wrench in there as that's going on. Noticing that the box isn't where it fell, I'm going to be just kind of slowly going down. I've actually never had a chance to hold or look at this box, so Alistair's going to take the opportunity.
Cool. We'll say go ahead and roll whatever check you want on this box.
Oh, sweet. 19.
As you're doing that, Jörri, what'd you get on the?
It's a 7.
animal handling?
Great
Cool.
rolls tonight. Yeah.
Killing it.
But-
Definitely not an animal.
Yeah, I mean at the very, maybe other people can, but at that point, like after trying to use the spell, Yori's just gonna say, Nalani, I can see this is not normal, but you know this is not an animal. This bird is not a normal animal. I should be able to talk to it, but I cannot.
I'm so sorry, but Alistair, actually, it would make sense for you to possibly know what this is, so go ahead and roll me a history check. Unless you think you're just focusing on the
I think the minute that he said, what I was going to say is when he said this is not an animal, I think my head would have snapped up. Realistically, knowing that more than 10 minutes has passed, so detect evil and good is off, I would cast it again to see if I get... Unless you want to say that it's been less than 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Which-
then don't cast it again.
Okay.
Yeah, you actually, I apologize. No reason to retcon anything we'll say in this moment. It took until you heard that it wasn't a bird to fully kind of look through that lens and see that it is absolutely not a bird. It is an elemental. And I'll say that gives you advantage on your history check.
Okay. Oh, sweet. Oh, the first one was better. So many screens. History. Oh, sweet. 22.
22. Awesome. And I will say, for the record, as a DM, I totally would have been okay if you guys never learned what this was, as it will follow you for a long time. The 22. Yeah, I'll say with the 22, you're not entirely sure, as most of depictions of it is seemingly red or on fire of some sort. But you do know that, and this is different than the like D&D Beyond sort of description. This is my world. But in my world, this is a phoenix.
Nalani? This is do you know this creature?
So the first time I saw it was when the last time I saw my uncle. When we were walking in the woods.
It was
on the
before
way
you even saw your uncle.
Yeah. I was walking in the woods on the way to before I ran into my uncle and saw the flash of this bird off in the woods. And then it's been seemingly following me ever since. I see it every once in a while.
I think you have a friend. This is you know what this is, right? Jörri, you know what this is, right? Yes, it's a phoenix.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
sliding Alistair everywhere. You know what it is.
Yeah. This is this is amazing. I think at this point I'm like almost like reaching out and like kind of trying to touch it, like.
Oh, interesting. They're pretty smart creatures for birds, at least in my world. You go to reach out to it, and actually, I guess this wouldn't be. It's probably more wisdom, huh? Yeah. It kind of moves a couple branches back. I'll say as it moves a couple branches back, there's also trail along the ground as flowers kind of start to bloom at the bottom.
Are these the same flowers that we saw earlier?
Exactly
Awesome.
the same flowers.
It's fascinating. Nalani, this is amazing. I think I'll reach in and grab one of my journals and just start writing down notes like, Nalani, this is.
But why is it following me? Why would it follow me?
What do I know about phoenixes? Nothing. Yeah.
I would say like you have no idea why it would be following.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's an opportunity, Nalani. I think for whatever reason it's here, and I think clearly wants something to do with you. I think you should take the opportunity and study it. Maybe get a feather.
How close is Nalani and Alistair in this moment, physically?
Say within arm's length.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, okay. So Nalani, you're aware of the distance between you and Alistair. I will say also you did see it like kind of move away from Alistair's outstretched hand.
I think Nalani's gonna take a step towards the phoenix and kind of hold out his hand and say again in Elvish, why are you following me?
You see it kind of look at you slowly, and actually like happens to like kind of snap its head back to Alistair, just kind of watching, and then perches itself on your shoulder. You see it kind of lean in, and it has somewhat of a long neck, so I think you see it kind of like lean. Actually, you had your hand outstretched towards it, right? So I'll say it lands on your forearm like a falconer sort of thing. Lands on your forearm. It feels. You don't feel any change in weight as it perches on your arm, and you see it kind of position its beak towards you and slowly brings its head to your head and touches your forehead. As it does so, Nalani, you feel a we'll say this, roll an insight check on yourself.
That is a 10.
Okay, cool. With a 10, you feel a warm presence within you, feeling like it's most likely emanating from this phoenix. It's fully empathizing with your actions. You don't feel like it's like reading your thoughts or anything. You feel a sense of peace that is allowing you to feel what you feel. So it's not negating your thoughts and your sadness and your feeling of loss, but it's giving you a feeling of maybe like a moment's sort of respite, of allowing you to be able to take a breath, we'll say. Yeah, so you have a moment to react or respond.
Nolani takes a deep breath, a deep sigh, and kind of turns to Alistair, and Io, I imagine, is kind of close by and says, you know, we're right. You're right. You're right, Alistair. We need to help Siobhan find her daughter. That's the most important thing that we need to do right now. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure we do that. And we'll get to the bottom of this. Thank you, guys.
With that, you feel the phoenix kind of like pull back from your forehead, and then gives you like a little like gentle peck on the nose, almost as if it's like a kiss, and just flies off.
Just before it leaves, because I know Nolani spoke to it in Elvish, I'll stick my arm out and go, "Come," in Elvish. Just,
Yep. And you feel really silly as you watch it fly off.
I think it'll be back, Nolani.
I hope so.
We're gonna pause you guys there. And actually, it's a little early, but we'll say this is a good point. Let's go ahead and take our 10-minute break, y'all. So it's 10:10 right now. Perfect. We'll see you back here at 10:20.
Sounds
Howdy.
good.
So we're gonna just a small retcon here. We're gonna say it was about maybe like 2 hours go by. So we'll say this is kind of like lining up with each other in this moment. And we come back to Collis and Temurr and Gwyn and Siobhan as the cart continues to kind of roll along. I think Gwyn at this moment is kind of like leaning over to the side and goes, I think that's Alistair's cane mark there. Siobhan, you
Yeah.
look over and see it is clearly not. As you
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
okay,
lost the trail a
Gwen.
little bit.
It's not quite what we're looking for. Do you,
Like I said, I'm sure they're fine. They got a head start, so we'll,
it'll be hard to catch up if we don't know the direction they went.
Yeah, but they have Alistair, so.
That's more alarming than you might think. It is the woods, and this is Alistair we're talking about. He did ask the first night where the hotel was.
Yeah. But,
Milani, I think, is fine. I'm sure Io's fine too. But
Siobhan, I think you'd be surprised. Alistair has been in a number of uncomfortable situations that he's a survivor. He's gonna be okay. I think.
I'm sure. Well, I suppose I don't know, Temurr and I could just scout around.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, just stay close to the car. Collis, that's a good idea, right? That's fine. Collis looks back after not picking up on any sort of cue of any social sort of thing at all that Gwen's giving off. Like, oh, honestly, I mean, I don't know. Cat's out of the bag. This is my first trek out here, so I mean, if Temurr's down for it, I'm sure you're fine.
Thank you, Collis. Appreciate the support. Are you sure you're okay, Gwyn? I know last night was a little rough, and then the boys ran off this morning, and we don't really know what is going on.
Oh yeah, last night. Yeah, I'll be fine. Passive insight. Total lie.
Ron's gonna reach out and just put her hand on Gwen's arm or hand, whatever she's leaning out of the cart with, and be like, "It's okay. Whenever you're ready." And she wants to sense emotional state at that point.
Okay, cool. Let me check just some stats here. You just hear a dark voice come out. No, I'm just kidding.
There's another one.
There's another one. There's another one. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, she's somewhat perceptive. And she's pretty insightful too. So I will say roll me a deception check while you do this.
And then insight to use the ability.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust my dice for this one. All right. For perception, that's a 11.
Okay, cool.
Oh, of course.
She has
Insight's fine though.
She has a +6 to insight.
Jesus
She rolled a 9 total. So didn't catch that at all.
My insight was a 21.
Okay. All right. With a 21, you feel a I think you feel a well of emotions that is physically repelling to you, like in the sheer power of it, not in a like supernatural sort of way. So maybe something that you may have felt before in your life from someone who has received true trauma.
Or what she felt when she found her husband.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's actually that's a good point. I think what you feel is an insane amount of guilt, and sadness, like in a sort of like more of a melancholic sort of like idea, and anxiety. Feeling most likely, I think with a 20, you said 22,
21.
21. You feel a sense of like, because she rolled bad. You feel a sense of almost like a responsibility to keep, at least in this moment, you. But yeah, I think you get with a feeling like to keep everyone stable.
Mm.
Whether she's the glue or not, she feels like she is. That's me taking some freedom, but I think I'm not too far off.
Siobhan's gonna squeeze her arm, friendly, and just say, "It's okay. You don't have anything to protect me from. I've already lived through the worst moments of my life."
Yeah, that okay. I mean, I felt fine. I feel worse now, but I felt fine.
Whenever you're ready, I'm here. Keep an eye on Collis while we're gone. That boy needs some help.
Hey, I'm fine. Okay. I found a weapon, and you see him like just it's a thick branch. So, any don't listen to me.
Okay, we'll be 30 minutes max, Gwyn. If we're not back in 30 minutes, something's happened to us, but that's not gonna happen. We're gonna be okay. We're just gonna go for a quick perimeter sweep of the forest to see if we can't pick up the trail again.
Okay. All right. Be careful.
Oh well. She's gonna turn to Temurr. Scouting mission?
And starts to kind of like move on up ahead as you kind of join him. You see him kind of like point. Actually, he doesn't point. I think he nudges you a little bit. Just like kind of signifies like to kind of go a little bit more left.
Let him
The
drive
cart
me.
Cool. The cart like kind of starts to follow and can't at a certain point as you kind of like start to kind of go through the brush and you hear off in the distance. Remember, not too far. Okay, good luck.
We'll be back.
You hear some whispering from Collis to Gwyn. Can't make out what it was, but you definitely hear at least that. and you guys head off in a different direction. We'll say, Siobhan, roll me a perception check for the events that come up here.
Ooh, 21 again.
21, nice. With a 21, I think for a while, it's the perception itself is probably is just woods. Like everything's just kind of like normal. You see, like you hear the sound of like a small like we'll say like beaver size sort of like creature like kind of scurry out from a bush, and you see Temurr like kind of like go to grab for his bow, and then kind of like decides against it. And with that, your attention kind of turns more towards Temurr. In a perceptive sort of way, the spectrum of where things have kind of been moving continue to move closer. You see, the skin itself has gone from a light green to or a light kind of greenish gray to almost like human, like a human pale skin sort of look. Looking at the face, you see the jaw, the kind of like almost like sort of slightly protruding jaw of Temurr kind of like seems to be a little bit more like pulled back a little bit. The tusks themselves, you remember them being bigger. Temurr, I think, probably notices you looking at him and just writes on the slip of paper. Actually, I think you guys stop, and he's like having to do this on his hand, and God, is that hard to do? So he just like kind of like does a turn around, and writes on your back something, and kind of hands it to you. And goes, not far.
She's just gonna look at him curiously, and slowly shift into her changeling form.
Cool.
Just kind of trying to see his response to that.
You see, oh, this is good. Okay, this is good. You see a smile from Temurr that is not as ugly or transfigured as it was last night. Yeah. Seems to be happy that you're in your sort of pure form. Doesn't seem to be scared or anything like that. You don't notice anything. Nothing but positive reaction, honestly. Actually, I'll say this. Go ahead and roll an insight check on yourself.
I don't like this. What the hell? Okay. That's only a 15 this time.
Okay. 15 is enough to go, in your changeling form, right? We'll put it this way, like, how would you describe how it feels to Siobhan?
He feels
Does it feel like
uncomfortable.
anything? Okay.
Like emotionally uncomfortable just because of her past and how she was kind of raised to think about her own kind. But part of her is trying to like fight against that, especially after some of the things Alistair said.
Okay. How about like physically?
Physically?
Yeah, the transformation from Siobhan to changeling.
I feel like it might just feel like a little tingle going across her skin.
Okay.
That's all she
Cool.
kind of feels physically.
Okay. The insight was 15 on yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you notice, and granted, it's been a while since you've transform back and forth like you used to all those years ago. You used to do it, man, daily maybe.
Moving on the streets, yeah. Every time
yeah.
a wanted poster came up, yeah.
So there is a level of like, getting back on the bike where it's like, oh, it's, yeah, I guess that is a familiar feeling. Okay, I got it. With a 15, you notice that you feel like you didn't have to exert as much energy as you normally do. The tingling felt significantly less. And I will say, as just a note, Gwyn probably would have been avoiding your eye. Collis is driving the cart, so probably eyes forward the whole time. You realize also that there's probably hasn't been a lot of people other than Temurr that's been looking at you today. So, just gonna leave it at that. 21 was the perception check, right? So I think after about, I'd say probably a solid 20 minutes, to the point that is far beyond the area of where you would need to return. Do you think you would like pause Temurr at this?
I think she would try and, if he looks like he knows where he's going and he is walking with a purpose, she'd probably give him a "Are you sure?" look. But if he looks lost, she's gonna stop him and be like, "We need to go back, dude."
Cool. Definitely doesn't seem lost. I would say at the look, we'll say he kind of like he catches it and just kind of like points up ahead, and you see as he kind of points his fingers out, you notice even in the fingers following the hand, you look at the hand first, I think, and you notice that the like cracked and heavy and darkened sort of fingernails of this half orc have shifted. They're cleaner. They're paler. They have the like kind of like pink sort of yeah, they have kind of more of a pinkish hue to them, as he kind of points out. Following his finger, you see with the 21 in the far distance, you notice a patch of leaves, or I'll say vines, that are kind of along the ground in a formation of like what looks to be at first like a small stone like formation of like probably like a boulder or something. But with your insight, easily construed as such, with your insight, you notice there is spaces. You see two kind of holes about 2 feet apart, somewhat like a sideways oval, both of them in some ways, like as the leaves are kind of like hanging over them, and you see that there is a cave-like sort of opening right below it. As you get closer, you see that this looks kind of like a face.
I do want to say one thing, Joe.
Yeah.
If she's starting to suspect that he's a changeling, both Siobhan and Kiki are getting very nervous that this is a mirror, because it's the only other changeling she's met.
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to stop you from
Okay.
it's I mean, feel free to roll any check you want here.
She'd probably stop at seeing his fingernails for sure. Like, she's getting suspicious, but now she's getting super suspicious.
Okay.
And wait for him to look at her and say, "What do you know of Amir?" And try and get from that moment. She's going to reach out and grab his arm while she says that and try to get the emotional response of when she says Amir.
Cool. You don't see. We'll say roll me a perception check. Or insight, your choice.
Okay, insight's better. Insight's gonna be a 23.
Okay, cool. You know how sneaky this being is, right? This being known as Temurr.
Known as Emir?
I said Temurr, but you don't see a look of recognition or anything across his face. But I think you also know how sneaky he can be with that. He kind of motions for you to turn around.
I got no emotional impact from him when I said that name.
No.
Okay. She'll,
Do you want me to tell you what I rolled on the die?
no, no.
Okay.
She'll very cautiously turn around, but like keeping an eye over her shoulder.
Cool.
And a hand on a dagger.
You feel this prick. No, just kidding. You feel this like he stabs the pen through the paper at you. No, you feel writing on your back, and hands the paper to you, and has again uncharacteristic of what you've seen of Temurr, has a almost like playful sort of smirk on as he hands you the paper, and it says, "Do you trust me?"
She's gonna look at the cave and think about him and Collis. They've been together for a while, and Collis really trusts him. And while it wouldn't be hard for Emir to like switch places with somebody, it would probably be really hard to do that so quickly when we had such a short timeline to get on the road with them. And it doesn't seem as likely with her. So she's going to continue with caution. She's going to say yes, but she's not hiding the cautious expression on her face.
Okay. Doesn't seem to see any sign of you being anything but willing. You get to the mouth of the cave. I think once you get to the mouth of the cave, you notice that Temurr stops at the mouth, and you're probably paying attention. You're probably paying really close attention to him, aren't you?
Yep.
Stops at the mouth of the cave and is like, it seems to be a little bit more nervous and kind of like pulling it. You actually notice that he's actually pulling his cloak, like maybe slightly, like trying to be sneaky about it, but like pulling his cloak slightly away from your gaze. But stops and kind of like tries to like motion for you to go forward without him. But I will say, if you have sight of his face, you'll notice something.
He's trying to keep an eye on him and watch his facial expressions, body posture. She really wants to get any indication that Emir is coming to kill her or not.
Okay. Yeah. You see Temurr at this point. The like pale skin, there's no denying now at this point. Looking at him, you can see there's like kind of like frown lines on the face, but the bone structure looks like it's kind of like pulled in slightly. I'm using all these descriptive words to basically tell you that Temurr looks like a human right
Hmm.
now. You see, like, most likely, you realize that I don't think you've ever seen Temurr like take his hood off, but whether or not, I would say that you notice hair that wasn't there before. That like kind of is like a uh, kind of like a rusty sort of brown, like reddish brown, that kind of like comes over to the side in a very like unkempt sort of way. Um, I think you being the perceptive person that you are, you notice that he's definitely a couple inches taller. I think he looks at your expression now, and actually, I will say, okay, cool. He like kind of like actually he motions for you to turn around, and then goes, never mind, and just writes on the rock. I think he just writes, "I'm not a changeling." And then sees the look of confusion on your face and goes, "Are you okay?"
Yes, part of me was nervous that you were another changeling I knew, but part of me kind of hoped you were one anyways.
Points to a previous conversation where it says all will be revealed soon. Writes one last thing and goes, "I have to stop here. I can't go with you."
Okay.
Oh, actually,
I'll
I'm
be
sorry.
back.
He goes, kind of stops him. Be honest.
Okay. I'll be right back. And she'll turn and walk into the cave.
Cool. We'll pause you there. Okay. Back with the other crew. So you see the Phoenix has flew off. Alistair will say you did kind of do a check on the box. You see the box itself again. Clearly elven design in nature, just from like what you've seen from even like South Imaean furniture from high elves or half elves that are kind of on that spectrum. Yeah, very beautifully adorned. You notice that there is what looks to be a locking mechanism in there, but I think you were around at least, or at least had most likely you guys had a conversation that like Siobhan's lockpicks did nothing.
Yeah, I will hand the box over to Nalani. Did you want to hang around here for a little bit longer?
Would Nalani, above board, would Nalani know any, like, I mean, he's lived here all his life. Is there any, like, secret, hidden, like, did his uncle keep money anywhere or anything like that anywhere around the property, you know?
No, I think Javier really was like a woodsman.
No, I think we should just get going and try to connect with the girls, and get to where we need to go. Or wait. So You never really answered why we had to get out of there.
Actually, I'll reach into my bag. Jörri, actually, if you and pull out a notebook and rip a page out, and you are going to see basically blueprints for leather armor for you that will run all the way up to your shoulder, made out of the wyvern hide. So I'm gonna hand that to you, and when you guys get to Celeste, maybe you can find somebody that could make this for you. I was gonna do it, but it's not even ready yet. But I'm sure you can do that. And Jörri, I didn't really get a great look, but I think we fought this weird beast in the woods a while back that was kind of made of leaves. Anyways, and then I'll hand you a sketch that has a whole bunch of different sketches, because I don't exactly know how fairy wings work. I don't know if you have 4 dragon wings. I don't know, or dragonfly wings. I don't know if you have 2. So you can see a whole bunch of different sketches where, with different materials of like wood or metal or anything to wings out, including using the hide that we took off that creature. This one of these is bound to work. I'm sure you could find somebody that could help you with that. So yeah, I think you guys. I think I might just hang out here. This seems like a good place to be for now.
So, what are we gonna hang out here and do?
No. Like you, I just. I.
So you're the one that's always telling Siobhan that we can't have secrets and that we need to share all the information. So why did we have to leave in a hurry?
I love that you listen when you usually don't. Whatever this thing is that I'm dealing with right now, I'm.
What, you mean the thing we're dealing with?
Yeah, if I'm sorry you have to deal with that. So I think it doesn't. It's not a. I saw it in my mind, killing Siobhan, and I told you guys that it wouldn't be an issue. And now that it is, I think I don't want to. I don't want it to be.
So it's not an issue, is it? You gave me something to deal with that, didn't you?
We did, and I think that is still probably possibly a solution that. I don't, actually, I was wondering if you still had it.
Yes.
Real quick, above table, if anybody gets a hint of what's going on, everybody's okay.
Okay, we'll be aware. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait,
yeah.
what was that?
Just like a yellow card offering of saying like a possible yellow X.
Yeah, if you, I think if you could just leave it here with me when you guys go.
So I'm not leaving it here, and I'm not going anywhere.
Well, if you're going to, I can't meet back up with Siobhan. So,
I understand that.
Okay.
Is the way you feel right now, but I can't leave you here alone because if I showed back up without you, Gwyn would kill me.
you know what? Tell him it wasn't your choice. It's pretty simple. Jörri, you
Come on,
seem like you
Alistair.
know a lot of stories. Jörri here could spin a great one for you.
Yeah, but you're smarter than that. She would kill me.
Uh, I
I don't think I understand.
So here's what you need to understand is there's two women that we travel with, and they would kill us if we got back without him.
I picked up on that. I think what I don't understand is why won't you come?
I'm I'm afraid that I'm going to do something that would hurt one or all of you, and I don't want to be responsible for that.
That's a fear that all people with power have. Sometimes mistakes happen. What if you don't come and one of your friends gets hurt because you weren't there?
What happens if you run away and the people you love get taken or killed? As I look at the burnt house,
What would be worse is if I were the one to do it.
Al. What are you talking about?
I'm saying that Nalani has something that can make sure this monster doesn't come back.
so Al, I'm not the smartest person in the group. I don't have all the book smarts that you guys have, but when you whispered in my ear that the best way to deal with past problems is to bottle them up, do you think maybe this is a result of that?
Y- I don't think Alistair has a response to that. I think he sits down and starts undoing the brace on his leg.
Nalani's gonna go start gathering some wood and start building a fire kind of in front of Alistair. Start setting up camp right there.
Um, I don't want to say what I was doing because there's a possibility we might have someone jump in.
All right, I guess. So, Jörri's. You guys can hear me now, right? By the way.
Yes. Yeah. No, we
Good.
can.
So many
Good.
technical problems. Alistair, I just met you, so I don't know a lot about you, but what you're talking about sounds like something selfish. You are afraid of doing something, so you'll abandon your friends and you won't help them. Everyone might have something happen to them. In the world, there are many things that might make you behave in a way you do not want to behave. But you have to just not do that. You have to just take on that responsibility. That is up to you. Not if you abandon your friends, you've put your own problems on them.
How old are you?
Old enough to know when somebody doesn't have a response. And then I'm gonna walk away and, just go hang out with Fenrir for a little bit.
Ooh, nice. We're at such a weird spot here because behind the curtain, Dan is checking in on whether or not he'll be able to jump in or not. I don't want to roleplay as him as he comes in. I don't want him to hear him doing the voice. Yeah, I think we will. I think we'll make a emergency switch here. And this just in case. I just want to know if you'll be able to. And obviously, Dan, if you can't, that's totally okay too. Just yeah. All right. Let's switch over. As we kind of like zoom out from Nalani, full on making a fire right in front of Alistair, making a spike fire in front of Alistair in this moment. We cut back to Siobhan. Siobhan, as you enter into this cave, at first you feel each step kind of like echoing into the cavern walls, and I think there's a point where you feel kind of foolish here. Something is going on with Temurr, but you're not really sure exactly why he even led you here in the first place. And if this is a mirror, man, what a great place to end the story of Siobhan. In a cave, by herself, doing exactly what she consistently tells everyone in the group not to. And what the group has told her multiple times to not do. So I think there's a feeling of like, what am I doing?
That tracks.
Each step as you, I feel like you even like maybe like kind of like shorten your stride a little bit in like reverence of like just like, I'm just recognizing, well, maybe someone somewhere sees that I at least slowed down on the way to my own demise. I don't think the normal sound is coming in, so we'll do this one. You see, also, you don't have dark vision.
I had a question about that because I don't
Sure.
have dark vision. Never had dark vision. My character sheet today says I have dark vision.
Interesting. Is it because of the goggles?
You have goggles.
Shoot, it's the dog. Yeah, we have the
Yeah,
goggles.
you have the goggles.
Yeah, We got the goggles now. Forgot about
Okay,
those.
cool. Gotcha.
So she pops the goggles on.
You pop the goggles on. As you pop the goggles on, you... Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Yeah. You pop the goggles on and you see a dark cave that seems to kind of go in a little bit deeper. But as it goes in deeper, you notice that there is a like in the distance, there's like almost like a white sort. I think for a second, almost seems like there's like a smudge on the goggles where there's just this like this white sort of like probing light that looks to be up maybe like I'd say maybe like 40 feet down from your current position. So if you were to go further, you're going to get closer to this light. And from the distance of where it's at, it just seems blinding.
I take him off and try to look through without the goggles. Can she still see the light?
Pitch black.
Okay. She's gonna stealth her way over there.
Okay, cool. Roll me a stealth check.
That's a natural 20.
Okay. With a natural 20.
Or 27.
Okay. You see every step with these goggles. You're amazed at this point about like how like oh, this is great. This is what like dark vision must feel like, and you feel like there's a level of like if you've ever not worn glasses for a time or hadn't like updated your prescription and all of a sudden you do and you're like, oh, I could have been doing this the whole time. There's a level of like ease as you move from rock to rock, moving down, keeping exactly the same pace as if you were to just kind of trudge right through. And you notice that as you get closer, the light becomes like harder to deal with. It is like there's a point where you feel like if you're as you're getting closer, you're gonna feel like you're starting to get like a migraine from it. It's so like blinding. I think just to be sure, you kind of go pitch black, nothing.
You will continue to make her way towards the light, trying to focus on the ground. Like when somebody's driving with the high beams and you focus on the white line, that's what she's trying to do on the ground.
Cool. You get right up into the like sort of white light area, and you're kind of like, but you can feel like it's just like a head beam is right next to you or right in front of you as you're looking down. I'll give you this with the nat 20 that you rolled. This is weird. And you think about everything that's kind of like led up to this moment, and you come back to the last thing that Temurr wrote down, which was be honest. It's a stretch, but an honest Siobhan wouldn't be able to see. A Siobhan that was her honest self wouldn't be able to see moving forward.
She will take off the goggles and then try to make her way in the darkness.
Okay. You take off the goggles, move forward in the pitch blackness. You feel, you kind of just stumble in just trying to kind of feel, find your way and kind of like inching your foot, trying to see if there's anything that's going to be there in front of you each moment. And you see a not really glowing, but almost as if a depiction of something that doesn't exist in the darkness, like doesn't connect to the shade of what's going on here. There's no environmental effect on this figure. You see a figure of a young woman with red hair. A figure that you've seen every time you looked in the mirror in Dare's Wharf. Figure seems to kind of like float towards you.
Who am I?
Well, you're not Kara. That's for sure.
You see the figure float on past. You see a little girl, maybe 5, 6 years old, blonde hair. For a second, your emotions kind of, your stomach kind of does a little somersault as it's Maeve. And then as the figure comes closer, you know that that's, even in its full description, is not Maeve. It's Siobhan's orphanage form. Comes up to you.
Who am I?
What is this? What is this trick? This isn't me. That's not Ellie. That's not Kara. What's going on?
You see every version you've ever been, down to disguises to get away quick, to versions that you tried to see if you could. You see images of an array of female versions, a few male ones when you knew it was going to make sense to be able to get closer to your target. You see different races, and you're recognizing all of them. As you hear a cacophony in different volumes, in different voices, in different times, just saying, who am I?
Who is this? What is this? This isn't me. She's gonna pull out Maeve's doll and just hold it to her chest and just kind of close her eyes and try to like block out the noise of all those voices.
Okay, you close your eyes. You hear it getting louder, getting louder, getting louder, and stop. You open your eyes. You see a figure before you that I think, this is up to you, but I think Siobhan has seen the least, as the changeling form of yourself walks up to you. Who am I?
No one and everyone. Anything anyone needs at the time.
You see your own form kind of disappear in a whirl of this, of the figures of these different versions of grays that represent the changeling, so from white to black to gray, and you see it change and then see colors added to it as if it's almost like one of those like like art swirl pieces. You see green and purple and blue and pink and yellow. All of these colors start to form in this like kind of like almost tornado. It starts to get bigger in front of you, taller, to the point where you can't help but take one step back. I imagine like hands still on Maeve's bear, but you can't help but grab, at a dagger. And you see the forms stop. As you see a figure before you, bathed in this rainbow-like it almost kind of looks like a cloak, but you see it kind of like drifts off into nothing, as if you're almost maybe looking at like a window into another dimension. You see behind it all of these different faces in various expressions. Eyes that are facing one direction but look lifeless. Looking straight up at the figure that is standing maybe 20 feet tall, you see a mask that is adorned in a like glowing white light. You can see that there's eye slits where you see that there are eyes that are peeking through that are just as white. The figure looks down at you.
Would I recognize this figure? Or like mentions of this figure?
I will say, I mean, you, Kiki, tell me if you recognize this figure, but I don't think you do. Unless there's something I missed. But this is a continuation of your backstory, so you tell me. I'll say this. Yeah, we'll say roll me. We'll allow the die for this. I'll say roll me a history check with advantage, as the areas of where you'd be in.
So that was a natural one.
Okay. With obviously not with advantage.
History. Where is my history? It's a +0, so that's only a 12.
Okay. With a 12, you see the mask. And there's something about it that seems maybe a little familiar. As it kind of looks down at you, the ivory mask showing no expression. Impossible to read. Impossible to gain any sort of emotion to this being in a way that would be frustrating if it wasn't terrifying, I think. You see it look down at you, kind of extend an arm out towards your face, and I think there's a point where you feel like almost paralyzed with fear as it touches the tip of your chin. It just goes,
How are you, child?
I'm confused. Lost. Who are you?
You may call me Mask.
and with that, you have a better thought process of what mask is. Mask is, you've seen depictions of various effigies that have been made in your small circles of the beings that seem to be able to have powers of healing dedicated to something that is just a statuette. I think there's certain points where, like, when you started out, you were kind of confused on, like, are they performers? Is this an actor? Is this, like, what is this mannequin-like sort of deity? And it's your choice on who it was, but I think at some point someone told you, this is Mask. If you don't know them, then you're not supposed to.
I never honestly thought you were real. I thought it was all a elaborate con played by some of the less trustworthy types. Why are you here? Why have you come to me?
It's true, my children can be troublesome. I'm here to offer relief. A guide, we'll say. Should you choose to accept.
I think I'm trying to accept. But everything, all of that hatred about myself is so ingrained, and I'm trying to accept, I'm trying to forgive myself, that orphan who grew to hate herself, the girl who turned to crime in the streets, Kara, who was not a great person. But I can't shake that feeling, and I know I met that group of misfits, I guess, who one of them called me out on it. I could be anyone, and he was right. I could be beautiful, I could be ugly, I could be man, I could be woman, I can hide everything that's wrong with me, but that doesn't change that hatred I grew to know. And I mean, if you can be anyone, then aren't you no one? I don't know who I am. I've been so many people.
I find that we are not remembered for what we look like, but we are remembered for what we do. Should we choose to let them know? To be my impossible. You must give something up, for I do not take.
I know you mask, and I always thought you were a joke, a falsity, but even knowing you're real, it makes it hard still. You represent everything that I've hated about myself for so long. She's gonna pull the ruby necklace off. But I want to forgive, and I want to become better to protect my friends, to find my daughter. So I guess from one thief to another, I asked for your guidance, and she's gonna hold out the ruby necklace. Can you show me a path to forgiving myself and saving my daughter and keeping my friends safe from themselves and me and everybody around us?
A reminder to everyone, including the party and the viewer, what does the ruby necklace represent?
Have I told them?
You might not have.
Okay, so they don't know. They didn't tell them. Nobody asked what the
Mhm.
ruby necklace meant.
I will say it would be entirely your choice. But I think a hint would make sense in this moment.
Maybe I did tell them. I don't know. Remember if I told you guys about the ruby necklace. It's part of the reason Siobhan thinks it's part of the reason Maeve is gone. That it's her fault. That ruby necklace is part of that.
You stole it from some woman.
Yes. Okay, so I did tell you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was stolen the night that Maeve. That's why she was out, and Maeve and Carter were home alone. Okay.
So you could say what you're giving up is blame, fault. Roll me a persuasion check.
Dirty 20. No, that's perception. No, it's still the same. Okay, dirty 20.
Okay. Dice are being really nice to you guys tonight. With a dirty
Dude, I don't want to
20.
fight a god.
No, you don't. With a dirty 20, you see a hand outstretched towards you to take the ruby necklace. And as you see the hand, you see each finger is a different color. Not in a like rainbow sort of way, just in a different sort of skin tone. You see like a deep orcish green or goblin green. You see what like the pointer finger has this like dragon scale like skin to it. As Mass reach down to take the ruby necklace, you give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the family.
You feel a strong wind blow from the backside as you see as you see Mask just kind of like once again kind of go into this sort of like tornado sort of twister like thing, and you feel this, and as you feel the wind kind of pushing you back, you start to kind of strain yourself, and you close your eyes for a second, and you are standing in front of Temurr. Outside, you hear birds chirping, and everything feels like you never left, except if you look down from your outstretched hand where you handed out the amulet, you see an ivory mask.
You look at Temurr. I can see why you brought me here. What? You've heard of Kara, and I may have to step into that role again. Can you tell me what I might expect?
I think in this moment you recognize how long of a thing that would be to write. And you hear in your head, so it worked. Welcome to the family. We're going to pause you there. Flipping over to the other side, Io. So we'll say we're kind of introducing the scene for everybody. Sorry, let me switch it back to a
Happier music.
somewhat happier music. Yeah. I think
Bond just joined the mob.
Yeah. Siobhan, I'm gonna message you something. Io, you see a broken Alistair on the ground, undoing his brace. Nalani, trying to be supportive in a way that is always challenging, and a surprisingly insightful fairy who has moved off just a small distance away, closer to the burnt down cabin, as Jörri is just kind of scruffling the face of Fenrir. I imagine you come up to Alistair's side. You have the floor.
Hey, what you doing? Why you taking that off?
It hurts, and frankly, I'm no good without it on. It will be less tempting to follow you guys when you leave.
I honestly, I'm agreeing with Nay. We're not leaving you here. And what do you mean about putting the beast down?
I think it or me or whatever it is is going to hurt Siobhan, and maybe you. And maybe Jörri over there, who's just a kid. I don't know.
We don't know, but you taking a permanent solution that may or may not even work.
Do you
And
wanna
no,
be
I'm not, I'm
responsible?
talking. I'm talking. Think about all of the lives you're gonna hurt by doing what you think is gonna be the right decision. I'm just saying, honestly, the decision that you're making, I hate to sound cliche, but it almost sounds like the easy way out. Let's try and beat this thing. You can do that. I know you can. You're a smart guy. I need you, Alistair. We need you. You're part of this.
I mean, yes, I am a smart guy, and I'm smart enough to understand that we're pretty much in this situation, at least you and one arm, because of me. So who else is gonna get hurt along the way?
Well, I don't have the answer for that. But what I do know, this ain't the right choice. And this is the choice I'm not going to let happen, quite frankly.
At this point, I'm like sliding the brace off of my leg.
And at this point, I'm just going to lock it in place with psychic energy if I have to.
Okay.
Nalani, Io, the last time you did something like this, it didn't work out well for you. I'm warning you. I'm telling you. I don't know how this is gonna work, and I don't think you poking around is gonna be good for you.
Well, honestly, Al, because of what I made to deal with, my life's already on the line. At least if I die here today, it's going to be taking care of a friend. So, I'm giving you a choice now. Get control of this thing. Let's start getting control of this thing now, or I'ma die again. And this time we might not be able to bring me back.
Do you continue to fight him with the brace, Alistair?
Yes, because and just bear through the whole story before you guys all go, what? Alistair's gonna start literally taking his trousers off, to where, yeah, I see Evan. I say this because the leg underneath is completely like wrapped and bandaged. Um, and I would say in this moment, like he's doing everything he can more or less to be comfortable. Um, yep, exactly.
Holy shit, that was good.
But I think, yeah, he's gonna, whatever room that you've given him, I assume you're holding this. We'll say it's 75% off of his leg. He's gonna start pushing the pants leg down, and you'll see that his whole leg, first off, is, because we've never really talked about it. It's like just cranked over. Like when you turn somebody's like arm or something past where it is, you see how the skin stretches around it, and the knee is almost facing behind his other knee, and it is completely like wrapped, as in like trying to help like a compression wrap. But around that, you're gonna see a thick, well, not a thick, but a thin, bright red leather wrapped all the way from basically the top of his leg all the way as far down as his pants go. Yeah.
Okay. Io, are you trying to stop this? So as he's taking the brace off, right? He's also,
I would say yeah. I would say yeah.
Uh is the feeling, Alistair, more revealing, or
No,
I'm
he's
doing something? Okay.
yeah, I'm doing something. This is again, he's just trying to get comfortable. Yeah, we've talked about it
Okay.
in chat, but I think Alistair is. I will say this: this is the most pain you've ever seen on his face. As the brace is coming off, he's loosening up these bandages. Um, you know, uh, I think as he grabs the red leather strap that goes, just kind of spirals around his leg. I do think there's a little bit of a awkwardness in that, like, and I think he'll look at you and be like,
Are
so,
you, yeah. Are you seriously gonna be around for this? Yeah.
well, that, and then also like this is Alina makes me put this on the. She, it's an Ilmater thing. I don't know. She thinks it helps. If can I just can you please just let me get comfortable?
Are you gonna keep taking off that brace?
You you
Yes or no?
you're giving me a speech about friendship and everything else. Could you at least let me get comfortable, please?
Are you still planning on putting the beast down?
Right now, I just want to take this off. Can we just do that?
Okay, honestly, this is really fucking awkward.
No, I think Nolani's going to interrupt. He's been putting the camp together, kind of, but paying attention. He's going to put his hand on Io's shoulder, kind of walk up and say, "Hey, might I suggest a compromise? How about you take the brace off in the wagon, and we move away from here towards where we need to get."
Jörri, I'm assuming you're still 15 feet away.
Yeah, Jörri's just kind of sitting with Fenrir, kind of watching, but from a distance at this point. He's still kind of not exactly, a core member of this group, so he doesn't want to interrupt, but he's watching.
Are you are you telling me this because you're worried about if something might come and cause some trouble here, or it might not be the most safest spot?
I just really just don't want to be here.
Come on
And
now.
we all have a lot of stuff we got to work out, and we're not working that out sitting here.
Okay. All right, Al. Temporary truce. Let's continue this, I guess, elsewhere.
I think he hears you, but he's staring at Jörri. Because Jörri made a lot of sense, frustratingly. And he just starts rewrapping everything back up. Reaches into his bag and pulls out that like thick leather strap that he has, puts it in his teeth, and then looks at Nolani and asks him to just kind of points at the brace to help cinch it back up. And then as soon as that gets locked in, Alistair disappears. And uses the shrink band to not see you guys anymore. And you can't see him.
We got time. Where's Alistair going?
Cool. So I think after about 2 minutes, you guys figure that out. He pops right back. It's like, no. All right, let's. Yeah, I'm not. Mm-mm.
How does that you turn invisible? How does that work? Is it completely? You just little tiny. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Ant-Man.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. We'll just get in the wagon and go. That was. Yeah. Okay.
Make a wisdom saving throw.
16.
Cool. You feel that I think for Alistair, there was a sense of, albeit definitely awkwardness and nervousness and uneasiness, but also a sense of freedom, because for one of the very few times in Alistair's life, Alistair was about to react on an emotion in a way that would make sense to just that person. And I'm using very careful language here, just FYI. I think the level of that was freeing. I think for Alistair, there's probably a certain point where it helped to like even let that thought get to this point, because it was comforting in at least this emotional response makes sense. And as you move against it, for whatever reason, you feel a deep and heavy growl from deep within as you put another boulder of emotion down deep. And you know that this creature can't take much more repressed emotions.
Did it seem upset at all by the direction? Because I mean, it would have been affected by anything I did as well, I would assume.
You think back to when you purposely withheld it from getting what it wants, and it did not seem to mind the fact that it hurt you and itself. So no.
So I think I'll climb into the back of the cart. And look at Jörri. You ride next to me.
Yeah. I'll come up, and when I get near him, I just kind of look at him and kind of give him a nod, and then Jörri goes, and if you get out of control, I'll just knock you out. Don't worry about it.
We're not friends. Do you have that those blueprints I gave you?
Oh yeah, right here.
Great. And then I'll just start making more notations on it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you take back the other prints I think you gave to Nalani?
I'll get them back from him, but yeah.
Okay.
I think
I'd like to push that moment there.
Yeah, okay.
So as you see Alistair take the things back that he had obviously been working on to some degree of difficulty, I think you all see that as an acceptance of, okay, I'm still going to be here.
Nalani, do you want me? Can I just have those back from you as well? I was thinking we could add like a little bit more padding forearm for your bird.
Yeah. You mean on my for the bird? Is the bird coming back? How do I get him back?
He'll be back eventually, I'm sure.
Okay. Are you asking for the potions?
No, I'm asking for the blueprints back.
Oh yeah, I give you the blueprints back.
Where's the chest?
I still have it.
All right. Io, you've been driving.
Oh, yeah. The cart that is.
Yep. So 1-horse cart.
Gotcha. So, hey, little man. Thanks for jumping in there with Al there. I think you might be right. Maybe Al just start going with your emotions a little bit more. That's all I'm saying.
How about you go with the cart and get us moving? Try to avoid the holes.
Okay.
Annoyance is an emotion. It's a great start.
Yeah. See, exactly. And what's
I
it? Well, you know what else? You know what else gets the emotions going? A song. You know, there was an old sea shanty back when I was on the ship that the sailors used to sing. Um, something. What happened with the mermaid? Hey, Jörri, you ever been on a ship?
I've never even seen the ocean.
As this conversation, unless this was getting to somewhere.
I really wish I could. I really wish I could think of just a random sea shanty to start
Love
singing
it.
along, but I that's why I was like I feel like since I can't think of one myself, I think Io's just trying to edit out of the words. And he's like, come on, little man, you know. And then the mermaid found, the pearl.
Yeah. I'm sure we could just start making it up.
the voices trail off in the distance as the cart that you had to turn completely around starts heading back down the hill, away from what used to be Nalani's home, in the opposite direction of what Nalani knows to be an answer. Or at least a problem.
I did want to add one more thing that I think about it before.
Okay.
I guess probably before I would have tried to lump Jörri into singing an old sea shanty. He definitely would have kind of turned to Nalani. It's like, hey man, how you holding up after everything?
I'm gonna say that's a whole other conversation that you can have next
Yeah.
session. We're gonna
That
pause you there,
that
but-
works. I do feel like that would have been something he definitely would.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, coming back to that scene, the camera, as you guys kind of drift off, the camera stays there in that little sort of like almost like on the cliffside where you can see like kind of like moving over to the side where this little pond is, and zooms in to the space where that chest had moved. You see you actually hear a rustling of branches. And hear a heavy bow as a being steps out, and you see a bestial foot slam down hard on that space in the grass. And with that, we're going to end tonight's session.
Big oof.
It's a good thing we rested. Oh, wait.
I'd say you guys could have probably gotten a short rest within that time, but yeah, you guys, every time you guys rolled a perception check, it was okay, but it wasn't great.
Can I make a guess? And if I'm right, you say nothing. If I'm wrong, you just say I'm wrong.
Okay, fair.
Is it a Rakshaka? A Rakshak? That thing?
Rakshasa.
Sasha?
There you go.
Rakshasa.
Who?
Got it.
No, legitimately, who?
A
What'd you say?
Rakshasa is a
The demon.
yeah. Looks like a tiger with two left hands.
Oh,
At least in
Look like
D&D.
no.
anyone,
I was like,
right?
was this someone that I introduced in the campaign and
No,
didn't?
Oh
it's a
no.
creature
Yeah.
type.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh. I don't know why that popped in my head.
I was thinking it was a. No, Clinton already.
I will
already
say,
pushed
for the
it.
camera's sake, it doesn't look unfamiliar.
I think I know what it is.
Son of a biscuit.
Oh
think that's-
boy, gang.
That's an Alani thing. I don't know.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Related to
That was fun.
Shinji. That's all I'll
Vaughn
say.
didn't get murdered in a cave.
Siobhan did not get murdered in a cave. Also, Dan, hey, what's up, man?
Hey,
No, dude.
yeah,
Glad you were able to jump in.
Mhm.
me too.
Especially because I did not want to have to play your scene for you. So, yeah. Whew, so much. So, yeah, for the record, I will say this. So we'll kind of handle it from a backward situation. So the foot that kind of like slammed down, referencing the area of where that chest was, you were thankfully paying very close attention to where the chest was. And yeah, it didn't move on its own.
It was inching it out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But yeah, cool. And geez, Siobhan, there's a whole other deity present.
I was like, this is interesting. I want to know what Temurr knows about Kara. And then Clinton's like, it's Temurr.
It looked different all of a sudden.
Every time
was-
Siobhan is alone with somebody, it's Temurr.
that was so great because it was something that, like, for me, I was like, doesn't not make sense. I can red herring the shit out of this.
You could have
Yeah.
very easily.
And I did. I rolled a 19 on the dice. I was like, he could be. Any guesses on what is happening? I'm curious what you guys
I'm
think.
guessing that he has some kind of like enduring disguise self. I don't
think
know
he's-
how, but something like that.
Yeah, you're pretty dang close.
I think he's
Hmm.
dead. I think he's a
That would make a lot of sense,
or
honestly.
like a reborn.
Like a
Interesting.
revenant?
There you go.
Interesting. I like
Hmm.
it.
That would
Anyone
make
else?
so much sense. No, I
We
actually
already know
can't
he's
think of anything.
Gloomstalker Ranger.
Mhm.
So Revenant's not too far off for something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I will say, like, this is kind of giving things away in player form, but I think it has to be said to understand what happened in that situation. Because I was trying to think of a way to kind of like even be able to kind of explain, like, Siobhan, what happened at the very end, like of your conversation with Temurr. Uh, Temurr didn't all of a sudden. Temurr wasn't able to just all of a sudden talk to you.
No,
You
I
just
gather
didn't.
that.
Yeah, you just didn't know that you were casting the message cantrip that you got.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mhm. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Playing with wild magics around Alistair will go swimmingly.
Just messing with him the whole time.
He walks up trying to talk to him and cast message into his head.
Oh,
That would be so bad. I can't wait for it.
Also, so like one of the things that I was trying to be like hyper aware of, and especially like starting out on this, Evan, I don't know if you picked up on this at all, but I dismissed it very quickly. Of like, this is a brand new player dealing with an extremely unhealthy emotional group. Like how and about maybe not even a quarter of the way through, I was like, no, he's got it. He's got it. It's fine. So beautifully played. Very, very well
Thanks.
done.
Yeah, I was a little thrown off by the sheer amount of technical difficulties I was having today, but other than that,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I'm sorry. I gotta jump the gun here. I two things, Evan. Number one, whether it's intentional or not, the way I read it, you're uh, pure, innocent 14-and-a-half-year-old fairy, with the wisdom of an old, wise person. Um, I loved that more than anything, and I think you bring a perfect foil to Alistair,
thanks, man.
in a great way. Sorry, I'm not claiming you as my own here, but you bring the right energy to not make Alistair so goddamn annoying all the time.
What he's saying is you're a great NPC, and thanks for playing.
See you guys later. Nice to know you. All right.
It was a great guest spot. It was great.
Great guest spot. Yeah,
Yeah.
really good.
No, I'm so happy you're here. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm sad that I only got to hear a tiny sliver of that. I gotta listen to the whole stream because I was like, this is really good.
Yeah. Actually, like speaking about what Dan probably missed, the whole Nalani experiencing his house episode.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Completely just for the most part burned to the ground. And I'm so sorry, guys. In some ways, I'm like, I think I might have said this to you guys last week. Like, I've been dealing with a lot. Like, I have a lot of like dark campaigns going on, like parts of the campaigns going on right now. Which again, I don't know what that says about me, but I will say this, Nalani, as soon as you left that house, I knew it was going to be burned to the ground. So I've had that like set up weeks and weeks ahead of time. So, which probably doesn't make that any better, but just so you know, it wasn't something I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do today.
Actually, weeks ago, it was just like somebody started a fire and it just didn't catch, and then every week it just got worse and worse and worse and worse.
It's just
And then
gonna be
last
an
week's like, no, that whole
accidental
thing
fire.
burned to the ground.
Every day he's rolling a dice. He's like, oh yeah, that's not good.
Not to seem, I certainly don't want to seem pretentious or like horn tooting or whatever, but I really love imagery in stories, and like especially if it's anything about a foreboding sort of thing. And if you watch back, because I had to watch back a couple weeks ago to Nalani's first, which I still have to kind of try to get on YouTube. It's whatever. But if you watch back to that first episode, a lot of emphasis was put on that fireplace. Um, so trying to kind of put that sort of like instill that sort of like imagery of that stuff was my intention, at least. But yeah, Mitch, you played that beautifully. That was great.
Yeah,
Gwyn
tonight
was
good.
rough today, but what can you do?
He seemed a little snippy.
Yeah.
Alistair will have to just check his notes and see what day of the month it is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Also, on
We had this
completely-
conversation weeks
We
ago.
did.
I'm sorry.
we did,
He did.
on a completely I just yeah, it's just you're just talking to millions of people at this point, but that's fine. Um I love the counteract of that, of like legitimate and a legitimate thank you to Clinton being like, just so you know, I'm going this way. Like please, like if this is an issue, please let me know. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Also, it's me being a dummy and not catching where you were going. So um, yeah. Anything else we need to talk about? Ooh, I love that.
Oh, you saw the mask?
Yeah, I love that. That's
The
great.
Journey did good
Mhm.
job on that one.
Yeah, that's really cool. Um, yeah. Well, cool. Well, I'm assuming there's not much else. Obviously, we have a so pieces of Nilani's backstory are clearly, or excuse me, of Nilani's, what's the word, personal quest, whatever, is obviously in Azumare, which is also where Yori's personal kind of ties are also going to be kind of clicked into there as well. Um,
Which you
so
can get to
just to
from
kind of give
Bear's
it,
Wharf.
yeah, yep, and they are not straight shots either. So
No, you guys all decided you wanted to do the big circle. I wanted to do the line. You guys wanted to do the big circle, head back to Morocco.
well, it depends, right? So like if you're actually, because you're going southwise on that, I would say that is the straighter shot, I think,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to like going straight.
Through
The
the
only other
desert.
way would be would be going straight through the woods, like from the. I think now I gotta pull up the map.
It is. Clinton, the player who's seen the map, was like, we should go to Morocco, over to Azamari, straight through the woods where there may or may not be something in the woods, and then down to
Who's
Dare's
seen the
Wharf.
map knows that would be faster for like a lot of the other things, not faster for getting to Siobhan's child in time.
Exactly, and
Right.
Mhm.
that's why we're going to Celeste, and then
Yeah.
we're gonna big circle back around.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or go to the
Also, I
Feywilds.
mean,
We don't know.
we gotta get you guys to like level 22 or 25 or where. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the hidden map that's up there that we don't know about that we're gonna
That's
end up
right.
there too.
That's right.
We're gonna end up in the Feywilds at some point, and it's gonna be a wild trip for this group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Wednesday's group is where you guys are at. Well, not exactly where you guys are at, really at all, but like within 100 miles of you.
Is that the group with Slagtand?
No,
No,
no, no.
that's Tuesday.
Wednesday's the group that's been going on for
Oh,
2 years.
okay.
Uh,
That
oh,
they're
they're
at
in
a
North
level.
Imea now.
They're in North Imea now. They're at level
Hmm.
11.
Nice.
Yeah. Who knows how long they're going to be? Just because there's something else that's happening.
Yeah, I know. I want to
No
know what that is.
spoilers.
Yeah. Well, cool, gang. Well, let's go ahead and do our kudos and things that we're excited about. Dan, if feel free to jump in. I assume you probably could think of something.
Yeah.
But yeah. So let's go ahead and we'll do this in order. We'll start with Clinton.
Well, great. I get to do two because Evan, I already told you I like thoroughly enjoyed that, and I'm again can't repeat. I'm so happy you're with the group. I think you're gonna fit in and be amazing.
Mhm.
But honestly, tonight I know I was being very pushy earlier in the day with chat, but no, Mitch, I wanted you to jump in there and take over and be the great character we know that Nalani is, and you crushed it, man. Like it's awesome. And I think honestly, playing those emotional scenes are the hardest because you don't know when you're really pushing it too far when you get into it, and you feel like it's gone on for an hour and it's only been like 5 minutes. So you did awesome. I'm so glad and excited, and I hope we get to keep seeing you more and more every week.
Yeah. I think just to speak on the role play sort of aspect. I will say I get to normally play as a listener in those scenes. It is not boring at all, like at in any way, shape, or form. So especially the heavy stuff. So I can only speak for myself on that, but yeah, uh, awesome work today, Mitch.
Yes.
Cool.
And looking forward to being glad that Siobhan did not get killed by a mirror and it wasn't her. So.
Yeah, man, I loved that I got like because it even like pushed the like concept in my head of like what Siobhan is doing in this cave each step, going like you fucking idiot, like you just
Yeah.
put yourself in this like oh that's so good, that's so good, and I really loved uh, for the record a lot of things that again this I don't want whatever um I there's some things that I will like it'll be kind of like off the cuff of like a general sort of guideline of like things of like I knew it was gonna be this like full disclosure I wasn't ready for Gwyn's uh dive into Siobhan's backstory, so a lot of that was off the cuff and it probably seemed like it. um the the mask encounter, I knew that was coming. We've talked about it for at least a few weeks now, and that went exactly how I wanted it to. So I thought that was really fun to be able to kind of like push that narrative out. So thank you for bringing it up and playing it along. Yeah.
Mhm.
Dan.
It's I'm gonna kind of have to save some of my kudos for next week because I only got to see like skimmings of everybody. Everything that I
Makes
saw, you
sense.
guys, you did great. Like I already mentioned, Evan as well. That tiny bit that I saw was like, okay, yeah, that's. I feel like that's. I don't know. I'm not gonna speak for Clinton's character. I'm like, no, I'm starting to think that's some stuff Alistair needs to hear, and I didn't want to double dip into that too much because I was like, no, I want that to be Yori's moment. I don't want Io to necessarily commandeer that. Um, I only
I
got to see.
I really looked at that as actually being Io's moment because like and that's actually why I was super glad that you like because you popped up on the stream and I was like, dude, if you're around, get in here. Like
Mhm.
this is your spot right now. Because in the world, right, Yori, they met 2 hours ago. Io and
Mhm.
Alistair have been friends forever.
Yeah,
Right.
literal
That was
years.
yeah, so
And
that's sorry.
that's just why I was like, no, I want to basically be like, no, I'm in agreement of this, but I'm also kind of like I'm like in my head I'm like, okay, I heard tiny pieces of this. I'm going with this, but
Mhm.
yes. And that's kind of why I was I was piggybacking off of it with my own aspect of, okay, this isn't you. I'm not I'm not going to like I was seeing it as, hey man, I know you're in a low mode, but I already kind of coddle you. It's time for me to not coddle you. You need to hear this
Hell yeah.
and
Yeah.
dig deep is kind of that's what I was going for at least.
Uh
Uh,
not to uh we don't know each other's pasts or anything like that, but I will just be honest with you all.
mhm,
I had a situation that, and I'm not trying to move the emotions here, but I had a
mhm,
situation where I had to literally be what Io was for Alistair in a real life moment.
mhm,
That's that's exactly how something like that needs to be handled,
mhm.
depending on the person and the
Of
relationship,
course, of
obviously.
course.
So I think we obviously had to be very careful in our language in something
Hmm.
like this for for the sake of real life situations. But I will say
Hmm.
uh, it was perfect. I think it was exactly what needed to be said there. So
Um, Things I'm looking forward to, like I said, I gotta listen to everybody because you guys have been saying Mitch did a great job. I gotta see that. I gotta see that later. W-
Dan just said I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen
I
you guys
mean,
say
I
you
mean
did a great job. I haven't
the
seen it yet.
the interaction I did see though, I liked, of course, but I'm like, I want to see because I'm like, not that I want to see Io's other best friends going through basically the worst moment of his life, but I'm like, oh man, if that's a shining moment I need to see. The other thing I was gonna say is I'm like, okay, I want to see more Mask if that's happening. I don't know if you're planning on taking some cleric dips for like Trickster domain or something down the line or what, but even the voice sound effect thing was really cool. I was like, I wasn't expecting that right away, and I'm like, this is right up my alley of cool for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that was a kudos towards Siobhan and that. So
That okay, yeah, that works. That works
cool.
because you were great in that
Ev?
scene.
Yeah, thank Siobhan.
Hmm.
Cool. Evan.
Yeah. If I guess first of all, I was kind of feeling kind of nervous. I was kind of had some anxiety today anyway, and then there was some technical stuff going on, and I was trying to do a little bit more of a voice with Jörri than I did before, and it was making me feel a little self conscious. And I just really like all of you just at the end of both these have really built me up to make me feel like I did a good job and I'm fitting in, and it makes me feel really good. So I really appreciate
Mhm.
that. And then I just wanted to give kudos to Siobhan because this is my first game playing with you, but also I really felt like during that scene like in the cave that like I could read a lot of the emotions that the character was going through in your face. I felt like you were almost like
Mm.
shaking a little bit, and there was a lot of stuff going on, and I felt it was really um, it was enjoyable to watch, but also it was kind of powerful to watch. Like so, I
Mhm.
thought you did a good job,
Thank you.
especially when that spooky voice came in.
uh, what's really fun about that is that I have some idea of what it sounds like, but I can't hear it because if I did, that would be a
Oh,
problem.
that's
You know
cool.
that, like Evan, like I can't hear it,
It's good.
so I have to watch back and go like, okay, did that
Yeah,
work right? Okay, great.
it was definitely. I think you could see it on everybody's face when it popped up. It was like, whoa,
Hmm.
yeah.
Cool,
Yep.
great. Yeah, and I'm super like speaking of voices. Yeah, no, I mean I caught a little bit of that, but dude, fantastic.
Hmm.
I can't imagine anyone meshing more with this group uh and also uh shining as their own character at the same time.
Hmm.
Because I think they're both important, right? You could be someone who is just being totally passive, that I've played with and have had before, or you could be someone who is totally like I'm going to write my own story and so there's a spectrum there, and you are
Hmm.
legitimately in the perfect spot.
Okay, thanks a
Um,
lot.
yeah. Man, Mitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Dan, in like 20 minutes, you killed it. Like you rolled in and killed it. So I always appreciate when Io shows up like that. And then uh Clinton, it was really fun to kind of play that emotional part with you, and it kind of forced the interaction between the two characters because Io really wasn't there, and normally like Io would probably be that one with Nalani. So I think that was interesting as far as character development between the two characters and forcing Alistair into a role he's not comfortable with, but recognizing that he couldn't be his normal asshole self. So it was interesting the way that played out. Evan, I mean everybody's already said it, but the the way your character, I can't, I one of the things I'm looking forward to is just hearing more from you and your character as it kind of develops over the next couple of weeks. I mean, it's already fits in perfectly, and the one liners, I think I wrote in the chat like that was gold when you said that to Clinton. That was so good. And then Siobhan, of course, you were awesome in the cave. Like
Hmm.
you are you do those whenever you have a spot like that, you shine. You're so
Hmm.
good at that.
Yeah.
It is amazing. So it gives me and Mark a lot to talk about for hours and hours this week about everything. So
And shout out to Mark.
yeah, shout out to Mark.
Thanks for watching, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, he picked up on your fireplace thing, and was blowing up my phone saying, "Pay attention to the fireplace. Something's going on with the fireplace.
Dude,
Something's up."
my guy, man. Mark, get in here. We gotta
We
give
just
you
need to add
something.
him to our Discord chat so that he can just chat through the whole chat
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
whole time.
If he's your lore master, you should just bring him on.
Yeah. He's
Mhm.
my
Yeah.
what's her, oh gosh, I forget her name. Critical Role, the person that
Danny something, isn't it?
Danny.
Danny.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
Anyway,
sorry,
I'm looking forward to Gwyn coming back too.
Mhm.
I can't wait to see her and
Jörri.
Jörri interact. Like that's gonna
Mhm.
be off the chart.
Oh man, you're gonna
that
get
is gonna be
adopted.
yeah, that's gonna be super funny, I think.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Between Siobhan and Gwyn, he's never leaving.
Too
Yeah.
much chaos there. Too much chaos.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's great. Cool. And Kiki.
Big kudos to Nilani and Alistair. Both times they played off of each other in opposite emotional instances. One point Alistair was a comforter, and then one point Nilani was a comforter. And they tried to do, I loved how they tried to do in both cases all they knew how to do. Like Alistair was just like, okay. And then Nilani's like, well, I guess we'll set up a fire. I don't know what the fuck to do with this. Like,
that was so,
it was
that was
so
so
great.
good. Yeah.
They were trying to help each other the best way they could, and I loved that whole interaction, especially like back to back. The fact that we got those two emotional reverses back to back was so great.
Yeah, that was what's really funny about that scene to me is like it's the middle of the day, like so making the fire, which also like weirdly, I don't know if Mitch, if this was on purpose or not, actually also coincides with the first episode where you saw a fire being made in the middle of the day, which is just an interesting thing I just kind of thought of right now. But yeah, sorry.
But looking forward to finally having that Gwyn Siobhan talk about her going into the letter and standing in the place of her child's kidnapper. That will probably be
Mhm.
an emotionally charged event for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, Gwyn and or sorry, Jess and Kiki and I have had conversations of what that would look like. But I've said several times, like even like them, like kind of like panning it out, like I don't want to. This is a moment that has to happen between players. So,
Mhm.
so I think it's good that I think we managed to get that because I believe Gwyn's coming back next week, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Cool.
Mhm.
Awesome. Great. Jess, we miss you. But also
Mhm.
We do.
Italy, we understand. Well, cool, gang. We did it. What a cool place to end off of and be concerned and anxious and all that fun stuff enough to be able to kind of last us another week. So without saying anything else, I just want to let you all know how much I love you, which is a lot. And I cannot wait until next week where we get to have Jess back and we get to have Jörri and Gwyn meet for the first time.
He's gonna adopt you.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. I'll see you later.
See ya.
Yeah.
Bye.